Can you hear the music?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, I got this old radio here. It it picks up some weird channels once in a while.
Wow, there's some really good stations up north if you ever tune in. Nice.
I don't know if you can see it.
Again, it's awesome.
But yeah, I just hit the power button and it's playing this.
There we go. I mean, if there was a cool radio station like KBFT in every town, we could musicians could make a living again.
Anyways, yeah, welcome to KBFT Virtual Music Fest interview series, sponsored by KBFT 89.9 FM, Boys for Tribal Radio, and the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And we're here today with Midwest folk musician David Huckfelt, founding member of the Pines, to talk about his upcoming performance for KBFT this Saturday, March 20th, 7 p.m. here on Facebook Live. We're going to also put it up on YouTube, and David has just released a new album titled Room Enough, Time Enough, and this is his second solo release. I listened to it, and it's awesome. I love the production, and it just feels like you're in a Western movie, or it has a Western type vibe, and it could be a soundtrack to a Quentin Tarantino movie.
It's high praise, man. Thank you so much, Chaz.
Yeah, so you just want to talk about the album. What is the inspiration, and what are the inspiration for some of the songs?
Yeah, man. In my band, The Pines, somewhere about 10 years ago, we found ourselves collaborating and in these shows and situations with a lot of indigenous artists that we have admired for a long time. People like John Trudell, Keith Cola, Annie Humphrey, Quiltman, and those seeds were planted even long before that of just, a lot of my relationships and friendships with Native artists have helped me as a person and as a songwriter, and as I toured around the country and the world for the last 15 years, I could see that in all these places, indigenous music was stereotyped and sidelined and pushed to the side, like so many other perspectives in the indigenous community when it comes to the greater culture. So fast forward to last year, and I'm thinking, if I'm going to make a record in this time of Spotify and in this difficult climate in the world, I want it to be a common ground record, like a real truly collaborative record where no one person has taken all the spotlight. And so I started to think about this cowboys and Indians mythology, and you know we've had such a divisive year in this country, and I think to a certain degree, corporate America and politicians, they do well when we're divided. They can kind of control us. So I wanted to find a place where we could blow up the cowboy and Indian myth and show how we can get along, we can collaborate, we can lift each other up, we can listen and learn from each other, especially in music. Maybe in music first, and then everywhere else as it follows. And that was the inspiration for some of the native songs mixed with some of the Western songs, mixed with some of my own. Was just like, let's create something that sounds a little different, and we'll tell you what it is later. Maybe you hear it and you're like, well, why is there traditional singing behind this kind of folk song? It's like, well, because we all love each other and get along and we like music. So that was the start of it, and it kind of grew and grew and grew with collaborators during the pandemic, and all the way up till when I finished it, and we just released it a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
the long answer. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. We like long answers. But yeah, I mean, definitely I agree with you. The Native American, with me being in a Native American band, starting a Native American band, I know like it's a new frontier and it's a new sound to experiment with and to to be a part of, and it's refreshing to have that, to put that aspect into art, and it's something that nobody hardly ever does, or it's hardly been done. So, and I
Yeah,
applaud um, your interest in my culture and your sensitivity to my culture, and and for to get it out there in a good way, good positive way. I
that's
really,
a.
really respect that.
I mean, it means a great deal because the truth is uh, we're in kind of a moment too in this country where people are encouraged to stay in their lanes, and you know, as far as the ethnicity or those boundaries that you maybe don't cross. But the thing is, I think if you have these, if you're coming from the right place and you're not afraid to admit when you're wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before, like I mean, making assumptions, or my ears are always as open as I can get them. And having someone like Keith Secola in the studio, number one, I'm honored that he's there because I respect him tremendously. Number two, he's a brother, so I know he's got my back and I've got his. And I don't know. I feel like there's something seems to happen when folks try to honor Native people. They're yelling in their face, "I'm honoring you," and it's like, you know what? It's not up to you. If you have to feel heard and respected, and then that give and take is just really my favorite part of making music. We sent the tracks out to Oregon, to Warm Springs Nation, and Quilt Man, I mean, he sang. I had him sing on one song. This is John Trudell's singer, and then he said, "Bro, do you got any more?" And he ended up singing on 4 songs on the record. So your praise means a lot. That's the hope with something like this. Is like, I'm not trying to come across as anything as other than someone who cherishes these relationships and wants to make a stage for some other voices. I think people need to hear.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an awesome collaboration to get on your album, and what a high honor to have the Quilt Man on your album. How many people
Yeah,
say that? And speaking of
totally.
Keith Secola, you covered a song by Keith on the record too, "The Book of Life."
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite songs written in the last 10 years, and I can remember the first time Keith played it, to the first time we played it together, to when he recorded it, this, sweet and little demo version, and me just asking him, saying, "Can I do a version of this song? Because I think everybody needs to hear this beautiful little hopeful poem song. It's like a little nursery rhyme for your soul, so you can get through the day.
Yeah, yeah, and you did a beautiful cover of that song.
Thanks, man, so much.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard it, everybody out there in Facebook land, check it out. "The Book of Life" by David Huckfelt, man, it's awesome. So, on another note, how have you been dealing with the COVID pandemic, and what's your life been the past year?
uh if I had to say, I would say I started out pretty good. We had a baby on March 26th last year, and
Congratulations,
that was
man.
just as things, you know we were starting to get the hint that maybe this wasn't going to go away so fast, even though the president kept saying that it would. For some reason, I didn't trust that. Um, and as things got carried on, we just made a bubble here at home, and I was to tell people, like, we protected this little kid like as if he was the next Dalai Lama. He was in hiding, and we were transporting him in secrecy to doctor's appointments, and that was a good time to bond with our child and to be home after 10, 15 years of touring. It was nice to be home. And I think as it extended, the way I felt, and maybe a lot of people, is like, this needs to end. We need to get a handle on this. And I miss my friends. I miss my family. I miss concerts. I miss income. So the last couple months have been harder, I would say, as it stretches out into a year of this. So um, hopefully that we can continue to shift as we get the vaccinations and some live concerts can come back. But any artist or musician or any parent, anybody who's been through this and been unemployed, my heart goes out because it's been really hard at times.
Yeah, I agree. But so we have a live performance coming this Saturday, March 20th, 7 p.m. Can you tell us what to expect, or what our listeners and our viewers can expect out of the performance?
Yeah, I'm super excited that you asked me to do this. I've done a few of these virtual shows. I've gotten a little more accustomed to them, and I like to keep it pretty fresh. There'll be songs from the new record. There'll be some new songs that I'm working on, and probably a couple songs by people I really admire. There's a Buddy Redbow song on the new record that I really enjoyed playing called "Journey to the Spirit World," and I think it's people want to feel connected, of course. So um, I think it's more of like just like the way we're talking, like those feelings when you're watching a songwriter in a small room or a small venue, and I like trying to bring that across even on the internet. So I have to say, I'm such a fan of community and reservation radio stations around the country. Like I collect them like precious stones or something. Like every state, I've got my favorite, and so KBFT is such a great station. I've been able to come in the studio with you and Geo, and you guys have sponsored events. Like I live for that stuff, man. All the little stations in northern Minnesota. So I'm honored to come on and play a few songs for people. That's a real privilege.
Awesome, man. Thanks for being part of the family.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, pleasure's all ours. So, where can we find you and your music?
The best place to get the music is davidhuckfelt.com. This is a time when you can listen to anything on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music. But if you like what you hear, to buy a vinyl record or a CD or a download direct from the artist, and whether that's me or War Bonnet or whoever, like support the artist directly. Go right on their website and order their music because it really matters. It makes a big difference as we go through try to get through the pandemic and all that stuff.
I agree. So, I like to keep things short and sweet. Do you have any words of encouragement to any upcoming artists or musicians?
I would say draw a line in your mind beyond which you don't compare yourself to other bands and artists. It's good to watch, to learn, to try to get context, but have a place in your mind where you stop comparisons and you think about your own relationship to music and what part of it makes you happiest, and uh, and try to trim back all those other expectations because you can really get caught up, especially in social media age, with what you're supposed to be doing or how it's supposed to feel, how big it's supposed to be. But really, that would be my advice: is think about what makes you happiest about participating in music, and then just go straight for that, like a heat-seeking missile, man.
All right. Well, miigwech for that. And thanks for chatting with us today. We look forward to the show on Saturday.
Such a
And
pleasure.
all right, we'll see you.
Yeah.
See
Thanks
you
so
soon.
much, Chaz. Yeah, take care. I'll see you Saturday.
All righty.